the topic today. Being stuck in survival mode. This kind of goes deep. If you are addicted to crime, like true crime, this is for you. We are survivors of trauma. People who get calm feelings from watching true crime or anything adjacent to that. For me, I was a death hag, which is what? That sounds so weird. In 2008, I found this fucking website that talked about Hollywood murders or early deaths or whatever. And I'm running, honestly, I can't remember the name of the website right now. But it was like adjacent to rotten.com. But it was like not that traumatizing. You know, if there were any pictures of bodies, they were in black and white and it wasn't that bad. Because I'm very sensitive. And rotten.com traumatized me as well. If you know, you know. Millennial reporting. So death hags were a part of their website, which was a forum, and we were all obsessed with, you know, celebrity deaths for a while. That was my thing from 2008 for a while. I don't know, remember, probably like till 2013, maybe. It was a while. Mandy's probably my only friend that I still have from this time, this era that I really talk to every now and then was Mandy. So that was an era where I was really obsessed with this shit, but it came after a lot of trauma. Being stuck in survival mode can also look like not just true crime, but being really into high intensity workouts, loving that feeling of having your cortisol be spiked. So horror movies, I know, I love them too. You know, I'm not so much into horror movies as much as I love the goriness of a good fucking Tarantino flick. You know, I love Fight Club. I love shit like that. I love video games where you get to hack and slash. I like RPGs. I also like first-person shooters. So I always talk about in terms of this stuff with me because I don't think it's cool for women my age to be pointing fingers without talking about experience. So that's why I'm talking about myself. It's more relatable. So these are all things that we get into because we relate to it and it's cathartic for us because we're engaging these hormones in our body that keep us in survival mode or fight or flight, whether we realize it or not. Our like music beats per minute, RPMs, beats per minute. If you don't listen to R&B or like classical music or whatever, and you like really high paced drums, and that's what you need. You know, you have to really look at what that's doing to the rhythm of your heartbeat, how that's keeping your cortisol up. It doesn't really matter what the words are at that point. I got to keep my throat nice and warm. It's like, I don't know if you can see the steam. No, you can't. You can see it if I hold it sort of over this direction. Anyway, for a feminine to be bodied person, leaning person, identifying person, I want to say women. I'm going to say women. If you hold the container and want to provide yourself with more feminine energy, you have to really examine the things that you surround yourself with. I'm not saying you have to change anything. I'm just saying keep track of it and how often you're dipping into this thing because it does spike your cortisol. I recently pretty much just quit caffeine. I can't remember the last time I had any. Maybe it was possibly last Tuesday, a week ago. You know, that not spiking my cortisol, not fucking with my hormones is really noticeable. I'm starting to have really interesting dreams again. I was dreaming about my former physical therapist last night, bumping into him at a party, and then Michael Douglas at the same party. I shook Michael Douglas's hand. So crazy. You know, having these abilities to be in my yin again because I'm not engaging in the yang consciously. I'm making mindful decisions to take more time in silence, to be more self-examining. That's, if I'm saying that word right. To be in peace intentionally. Because rest is difficult for me to accomplish. I don't nap well. I don't take downtime without guilt. I'm always doing something, even if I'm working on a post, you know, like I don't just sit there to sit there very often, if ever. And I also don't cry just to cry and release pressure like I should either. It's very important to really identify these qualities in yourself, what you want to be more like, how you want to actually react to things. If you want a softer reaction and a softer reception, if you want to be less codependent and hyper independent, and you want to lean more towards interdependency and secured attachment, you have to really examine these things that keep you up here, keep you tight. Get addicted to that tightness, those drama stories in our mind. It's like watching 24/7 Dr. Phil, and you're always in analyze mode, or like, you know, no. Emergency shows, cop shows. Back in the day, it was cops. Watching people get jumped or in car chases. Like I already covered the violence, the horror movie violence and stuff, but I understand those stories can also be very cathartic. I'm not denying that, because a lot of the villains started as victims, and we love a good turnaround and power. Somebody that felt powerless, coming to terms with that and rising above it in some type of way, the underdog wins. So we love stories like that, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, if you're trying to hold a feminine container and you're stirring up your own water and you're creating tension inside your own body with your thoughts because you're always thinking somebody's going to do you wrong or take advantage of you, you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, or you're creating a high sense of tension for yourself. And do you know how much that ages you and your body, and how closer it gets you to having a heart attack? Women die of heart attack quite frequently. In fact, probably more than men the last time I checked. And we're always looking for somebody else to soothe ourselves, to recognize all the hard work we're doing. Bitch, that's you. Bitch, that's us. We got to look at this and start creating these soothing things for ourselves. Being around women, other women that do this, is so soothing. I have 2 friends that have this super chill, super sweet energy. So motherly, so nurturing, but at the same time, they're down-ass bitches, you know? So, like, I aspire to be like them, where they acknowledge all forms of themselves and create times of rest and light candles and bake bread and do arts and crafts, Granted, they have, daughters, which helps increase the feminine energy. But it's something I really value and appreciate in my life because my mother, he drove by already. I thought he was done. It's the groundskeeper. My mother and my sister, when I grew up with them, had their rituals, their feminine rituals. They were together all the time. And I was on the outskirts of that. Like, they were doing each other's hair. I was over in the corner shaving my head because I didn't know how to manage my hair, which is fine. I looked really good with a buzz cut. But in terms of bringing your femininity up, though, if you're trying to hold this container in your sorry, still have this cold, and you're fighting against everything, and even bringing the hardness out to your exterior, letting everybody know that you've been through some shit, like even shaving off your eyebrows all the way, like you're letting people know that you're processing trauma. But so going back over it, crime shows, high-paced beats per minute music, high-intensity workouts. I used to, when I first left my ex-husband and I got into working out, I was working out 4 and 5 hours 3 times a week. And I was making zero gains because my cortisol kept spiking. What kept happening was I was gaining fat and losing muscle. Every time I lost weight, I would lose muscle that I was trying to gain. And it was a big frustration for me for a long time. And I wound up giving up and bulking. And then now I'm finally cleaning up my diet to the point that it's in conjunction with my hormones. So something you need to do as well. If you're holding this feminine container and have a feminine body and you're behaving in masculine ways and you're fasting all day long, doing these intermittent fasts that are forever taking, and you're not paying attention to your cycles and eating in conjunction with your cycles, you're working against yourself. There's a lot of things that you can do to soften this, but still get ahead. This tenderness you give to yourself bleeds out of you in self-love and self-care. And it's up to you to mind that. Nobody else can get in this space for you. It's like you become your best worshiper. You become reverent for this animal body that drives your brain. You need to recognize yourself and not self-abandon this whole presence of you. So it takes time. And it takes a lot of running into other women that don't like this practice. And you have to stand up for yourself. Like, I'm intentionally resting because they get bitter because nobody let them rest. They won't let themselves rest. So a lot of times you'll run into women that get cranky at you for making the decision to be your own best ally. And then you get opposition. Expect people to fight you on this because creating a feminine environment for yourself that's safe means having good boundaries where you were a doormat before and people like access to you. Just the other day, somebody I've done a podcast with was hitting on me. And then I said, we have no chemistry, no thank you, right? I'm in the feminine container. I didn't lead him on. I didn't press his boundaries. All I said was we have no chemistry. And he came back blowing out at me, like saying some shit about women are always seeking validation on the internet. And like, I was just minding my own business. So you get a lot of opposition when you're stepping into your femininity. People don't love it when your boundaries are strong. But years and years of cultivating this feminine energy has made me realize how valuable it is, how life-giving it is, how the art of being Venusian and in your Venusian energy is precious. It is so precious. We can't beat it down anymore. The whole world is designed against women of all kinds. Just look at how women's medicine works. A lot of the procedures that we have are not allowed to have any sort of anesthesia when we absolutely could. In 2024, and this big old smart technology, we haven't figured out how to numb these parts when we're having procedures. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like getting butchered alive, cognizant, a lot of times. So I'm just, if anybody is going to have your back, it's going to be you. I have to stress that. So I have a guide in the description, and I'll put it in the comments too. I gotta go soon because this is my throat. But I have a guide. It's 3 steps. It's very minimal, but it's things you can work on right fucking now to get out of survival mode. Survival mode is a deep pit, and sometimes you can't figure out how to get out. 3 steps. The result is so worth it. If nobody else has your back, at least you will. You'll have 3 things you can do right now. Look for green flags. Become the green flag. Okay. I'm going to go. My throat's demanding me go. Thank you for coming. I love you guys. Please be good to yourselves. Know this new year, this new moon right now is feminine. I know it's a Capricorn conjunction. Capricorn is not masculine, it's feminine. The feminine aspect of earth, building. Knowing quality when you see it. Luxury. Multiply that in your life, become the empress. The only way you can do that is by giving it to yourself. Realizing your habits, realizing that you're keeping your cortisol spiked. I'm not saying you can't watch these things. I'm not saying you can't have your coffee. I'm saying pay attention and take a break for a while. See what life is like without it. Okay. I gotta go. I love you guys.